My weeks have just been very routine, mundane. I've been working on commissions, which is so worth it. I very much enjoy doing that and taking long walks whenever I can, and the past couple weeks have been quiet and subdued. We went to City Hall to attend a sort of grieving ceremony. If you don't know, we have a city in BC that got funding to dig around a residential school and discovered hundreds of bodies of children who were neglected and died. And it was a really sad ceremony. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description in case you want to read more about that or donate to the cause. My goodness. So much hair coming out of there. Having a time. Guess what I'm doing this week? Hell yeah. I think my favorite part of commissions, I get really excited to do cat ones for some reason. I don't know why. But I get legitimately excited. More than doing my own paintings. When people send pictures of their dogs for commission work and stuff, it's all very dignified and joyful. I feel like cat owners are really self-aware. I get nothing but cats caught licking their butthole pics all the time. This is him just kind of slouched in a chair kind of picture, but all the other ones were folded in half, grooming their butt. Isn't that right, Maggie? Is that 90% of your life is folded over grooming your butt? I love getting the pictures. They're so cute. You wanna be cute? Oh. And people seem to be kind of having it up to here with Instagram in particular and Twitter. Growth has stopped. People work so hard to get noticed and followed on social media. And you don't really get a whole lot back from it. As I've been learning recently, doing things that have benefited me far greater than all the things that I've been doing this past 10 years. Making videos and posting online. Social media, Instagram, I don't really play the game like I'm supposed to, but at the same time, I'm not really particularly motivated. Anyway, some people have been lamenting about the lack of engagement and response when posting art on these platforms. I understand it because I myself am guilty of just not engaging. And yes, a lot of it has to do with the fact that when we're doing so many things, it's very exhausting, and so you don't really have the energy to engage online. But also as a viewer, I don't like consuming art on Instagram. It's a weird, rushed kind of thing. Even walking through a giant art gallery, for example, the Vancouver Art Gallery, I tend to kind of blast through it because it's just a lot. And you don't have a whole lot of time to get through it all. And so you kind of just hit each painting. And Instagram is just like that. But even then, I will scroll through and I won't even be paying attention to who's posting it or who's making the art or what it means or where it's going. What is the purpose? What do they want from this? It's just a little stimulation and then you go. And yeah, to transition from that to the last couple of weeks, I haven't been vlogging very much, but it is just all about how I feel kind of spent in terms of content. I'm not trying anything brand new. things like YouTube videos and posting on social media will be the first thing that kind of drop. Recently, last couple of weeks, I've been very, very lucky, and I've had 2 fairly large pet illustration commissions, and I got them just by responding to posts asking for them, and that is low effort and has given me such opportunity to, learn new things and practice, and also have an actual effect on a person's life. I have been living on cloud 9 the last couple of weeks because of that. I suspect that this is what they mean when they say that you should work smarter and not harder. And if you're working really, really hard at something and you're not getting any results, you're supposed to kind of, if I Marie Forleo this, change your trajectory and put that same effort towards a direction that actually makes more sense and has more effect. I haven't been super active lately. I do enjoy making vlogging type videos. I'm also getting to the point where I'm struggling with this camera. The autofocus has been broken on it for a long time. With the latest video, I've noticed that the footage is not turning out very clear because I'm not quite focused. And I'm like, I should really be switching to the G7X for my footage maybe. And it would be nice because then I'd have like this screen pop up to like see if I'm still doing. But I don't know why I'm resisting. I think I'm just like, I'm still in the honeymoon phase with the G7X where I don't want to overheat it. I don't want to overuse it. It might shorten its lifespan or something like that. But I do have this camera. This one does 1080 when that one does 720. But this one's not nearly as good. But this might be a better solution. I'm not sure if I shared this yet, but the Patreon sketchbook theme is sketchbook hoard. We collect items in a sketchbook. Because you know how like people have such a strange and emotional connection with objects and things to the point where we clutter our lives with them and have to like buy houses just to fit them and rent storage lockers even though they're just things. So it'd be kind of fun to like use a sketchbook as a non-tangible space to hold tangible items. These are all the toads that I saw at the park, but couldn't take any home. I ended up looking up, I'm like, do kids still like take tadpoles home from ponds and stuff? The answer is no. It's illegal to take tadpoles and raise them. So, a pina colada for hot days, a discussion of whether or not a blended or iced coffee is better. I also have like a collection of items that I found at the beach. Because I'm definitely not like the kind of person who likes collecting lots of stuff. I don't buy a lot of stuff, but I still enjoy things and I still get nostalgic about things. And this is like the artist equivalent of taking a photo of something you have to give away and then just keeping the photo. Not just do things that I have, but also things that I want or miss. Things I might want to wear but couldn't pull off, just book of things. Having slightly larger than normal commissions means new adventures in shipping, because normally I would throw them into a cardboard mailer with a little bit of a stiff backing and it gets through just fine. But when it gets to 11 by 14, I start to worry a little bit more about the corners getting dog-eared. And so lately I have been building little envelopes, and I thought it would be interesting to show you how I've been doing it. I don't sell these that often. So I start by wrapping it in cellophane to keep the water off of it. And then I make a little sandwich with cardboard. So I'm cutting out pieces of cardboard the same size as the painting. And I'm doing it in opposite directions because corrugated cardboard is easily bent in a specific direction. So if I cut one so that the ridges are going lengthwise, you could still bend lengthwise. And then I do the other side widthwise, so that in both directions there is rigidity there and not a weakness in bending. On top of that, I also want to add a little bit of thickness and protection from banging and poking. So I'm just going to use some of this foam core. I know none of this is particularly biodegradable or like eco-sensitive, but I don't do this very often. So I cut one piece of foam core the same size as the painting, and I also cut a second piece of foam core slightly larger than the painting, maybe by a ½ inch. And on the larger foam core, I center the image and trace around it, so I have this little border around. And I cut through the border, not the whole way, but at least halfway, so that when I pick it up, I can snap it so that the little edges come apart, but the paper on one end is holding the whole thing together. Right, so it's almost like a box, but not really. This is because I don't really know what happens during transportation. Drivers drop things, kick things, smack things, stack things on top of things unevenly, make it so that if a very sharp object lands on it, it won't hurt the painting, or a very sharp corner of some card envelope doesn't poke in through the side. If I find it particularly difficult to bend this, then I know that the driver is going to find it particularly difficult to bend it. It's fragile, please don't bend stickers, they don't work. Make a brick, and that's why I use the foam core, because it doesn't weigh anything. It's very light. This might be an unnecessary step, but I will wrap everything in shipping paper, and then around all the edges where there is a paper flap, I will put a piece of strong tape down so that there is nothing on this parcel that can flip up, get caught on stuff when it slides around, I don't want to rip the paper. And the plastic tape will keep random pointy objects from breaking through the edges where it's kind of delicate, like the corners, places where the foam kind of dips in. And so I know that if I am able to drop, punch, bend, throw this thing around my house, it will survive its trip to its new home.